Hello everyone, this is Equestropology, and today I'm going to do something a little different. As you've probably noticed, I have not made a video about Equestria Girls. I've had a lot of trouble organizing my thoughts about it, and figuring out just exactly what to say. Plus, after the Crystal Kingdom video, with the insane amounts of visuals I did for it, I kinda don't want to do anything for it at the moment. So instead, what I'm going to do is have a podcast-style video of me and my sister,
long may she live,
talking about Equestria Girls in a slightly ranty and vaguely structured form. So that's what this is. Forgive me for any of my ums and stutters and ers.
It's not scripted.
This isn't scripted, like, at all.
This is so unscripted we've come out the other side into a world where we may be perfect.
So just... you know, if it makes you feel any better, imagine that we're both piss drunk. That makes it more entertaining. Just, you know,
we're sitting on my bed, so.
Whatever works. So, without further ado, we're gonna talk about Equestria Girls. To start off with, we should just, you know, talk about what we liked about the movie in general, and I guess I'll start. I did like the movie a lot. I thought there were some parts of it that were lacking, but overall, it is a movie that I enjoy and I would watch again. What about you, Savannah?
Well, I really liked the Equestria Girls. In fact, like, the first 30 minutes of it, I was just sitting there with, like, my eyes glistening and my mouth open, and I was like, God has spoken to me! And
her name is Lauren Faust.
I was, okay. So I really liked that.
Oh man, the beginning was awesome.
And they had all these little bit parts for the characters that you really like. They don't usually get to say fun things in episodes, and you're like, yeah! So, that was cool. And then they also had a really good art style, even though some of it was jerky motion, that's just hub for you. It had beautiful...
DHX.
Beautiful character designs.
You mean once they were in the human world?
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's at the beginning of the movie, too.
Okay, yeah. One thing that did kind of weird me out about the animation was how, like, rubbery it is. And I guess that was the style for the original,
But you don't notice it because they're horses.
Yeah, you don't notice it because they're, like, Technicolor horses, but once they start having more
elbows,
human motions and funny R-style elbows, it gets all kinds of weird up in there.
Well, I mean, like, I know a lot of people who can't watch Adventure Time because the wiggly noodle arms.
Yeah, see, that doesn't bother me, though, for some reason. This was just, like, everything was rubbery in the weirdest spots. Like, their actual ligaments were, like, stretchy.
Okay, well, I didn't notice that exactly, but...
like, in the choreography for, Helping Twilight Win the Crown. Helping Twilight
win the crown! Is what brings us together today!
I hope you all have seen, The Princess Bride.
If you haven't, that's something you need to rectify.
Because if you haven't, it's very sad.
You should really just pause this video and go rent it, and, you know, don't worry about us.
Just come back. I marked your spot in the video and just come back. We'll wait.
Okay.
Okay.
So what did we not like?
What did we not like about it?
Okay, first of all, we don't like the music.
Okay, the music was really bland.
The music was like, I mean, it's not like I was sitting there going, oh, when will this be over? But I was like, this is not quite what I expected. And
I think the dude who makes the songs his name's Daniel Ingram.
I don't know.
I think so. If my my brony indoctrination has served me whatsoever, I hope that's his name. But he
sure, someone will correct you in the comments.
Yeah, really. He tends to go for more Broadway-esque things with much bigger swells and you know, instruments instead of the usual synthesizer pop music that is
kind of what we got.
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is that, like, especially with Helping Twilight Win the Crown, I heard the music on somebody's, like, Tumblr, and I was like, this is a crap song. I am suddenly not really looking forward to this movie the way that I have been for 2 months, and, like, yelling at Delano to take me to the movie theater. Why can't you take me to the movie theater? I was like, oh, that's really bad lyrics. Wow. And then I saw the movie, and I saw the scene, and I was like, oh, I actually like this a lot better, because with the choreography, it seemed to gain something. Like, it was improved by that.
I actually thought the choreography was kind of terrible.
But the choreography was still kind of what was happening. It
felt like high school students who get a song they either like or a song that they've heard somewhere else, and they decide to make their own music video for it, and it's kind of subpar.
It does. It feels like that.
Thrown together, and I guess that kind of is like a weird backwards way of filing back into the trope.
Yeah, actually.
But like that one shot of Rainbow Dash when she like looks, and I think it was Rainbow Dash, looks into the camera of that one nerd. And she, like, has that little finger thing and, like, the winky eye and, like, shakes her head. Like, that is so, like, tacky and bad and something I would have done when I was 13.
You still do that.
No, I don't. Not when anyone's around.
So, we didn't like that. And that was, like, sort of the climax of the movie. So, if you don't like the climax of the movie, well, okay. It wasn't.
Honestly, that was the climax of the movie, because the actual climax sucked.
What? No, okay, we're gonna talk about this. No, I thought it was really cool.
You mean when she turns into the freaky demon with no foreshadowing whatsoever?
Oh, okay, I really would have liked some foreshadowing. I would have liked to have known what the crown did. Beforehand, but I thought the transformation was really cool, and it was like, whoa, and it was like all this magical girls stuff, you know.
Oh my god, it was so magical girls. If someone on that show has not seen at least one magical girls show,
I don't think that's possible.
I'm gonna be so shocked.
Yeah, I watched Witch when I was a little kid, and that's like the American Magical Girls. It's like produced by Disney. I mean, I read the books first, and then I watched the movie shows, but that was like a direct call through, and I was like, "This is great!" And we got an actual fighting conclusion. There's magic, and there's high music, and people are flying.
Okay, here's something that's bothered a lot of people in the fandom. What about the fact that the element of harmony was able to work without any of the other ones being there? Because all of the canon until this point has indicated that all 6 of them have to be there at the same time for it to work.
Okay, my question is, okay, they were not doing the thing that we've seen
There was a giant rainbow bridge that destroyed the person. That's exactly what happened to Nightmare Moon.
Okay, so, one element of harmony fix somebody in the same way that the whole group was necessary for before. I would venture to guess, in sort of like a wild mass guessing area, that because the people who wield the elements were present and were feeling the things, and
they were able to, like, call them forth.
Right, well,
in the same way that Twilight was in the original episode,
when
she called forth
exactly
the element of magic.
You would say that the elements of harmony are not actually the source of power. You are the source of power, and the elements of harmony channel it.
They're wands.
Right, exactly. And so you don't actually need to have them there if you're feeling strongly enough, and maybe if you have one there to be the conductor.
And they are also in another universe, so I suppose the rules of the elements of harmony could be different. I mean, elements of harmony sure as hell didn't transform anyone into demons in the pony world.
Yeah, we never seen demons before, so we're working with some weird off-the-wall things, and if you accept that the crown turned her into a demon in the first place, then a lot of other things fall logically afterwards, so you just sort of have to take that.
What about how quickly she was sad?
I did think that was a little weird, and I would have liked to have seen them do something a little different. Maybe a flashback, maybe, like, just a close-up of her face changing. I think that would have been cool. Like
a revelation.
Yeah, like her face just dropping as it all comes to her. But on the other hand, the elements of harmony kind of work like that, and so making someone see the wrong they've done seems like the appropriate punishment.
I suppose. You know they're actually going to cover Sunset Shimmer's backstory in the comics.
Oh, I'm really interested in that.
Because it was total bullshit that they didn't. They were like, here's 3 lines about it. We're done.
I mean, we actually had to rewind it when I was watching it, because I didn't understand where Sunset Shimmer was and what was going on with her.
We had to rewind it twice.
So I could figure out that she'd been hiding out in the human world. I was like, what? Why is she here? Where? How long has she been gone? How long ago was she the person under Celestia? How long ago was that? Was that right before Twilight? Was that like 20 years ago? Has she just not been aging because she's been in high school?
My better question is, did she also crack a dragon egg? And if so, where is her dragon?
Maybe she ate him.
She ate a dragon heart to gain ultimate power?
Maybe that's why she doesn't age.
Oh. Well.
I think we figured it out.
We've cracked the code, guys.
We solved it.
Everyone just head home now. Brendom's over.
Do you remember you pack up the internet, we can all go home. Do you remember that giant George the Dragon movie we watched when we were kids? And
George?
they were like, I don't know, something about peaches maybe. I was an animated dragon and live action people.
I do not remember that at all.
Okay, you were really small. But one of the things was they were trying to catch the dragon so they could harvest all his internal organs and blood.
Oh, that's freaky! Why did you let me watch that?
Well, it was a cute little kids movie with an animated dragon.
Oh, the animation age ghetto strikes
It was actually, it was supposed to be a children's movie, but they were going to harvest all his organs.
It's freaky as hell!
Because they could do magical things. So if
yeah, that's just been established in the lore for ages, you know? Bathe in dragon blood, eat a dragon heart.
Okay, we've gotten really off topic. What's our next bullet point?
Okay, the next thing I wanted to talk about was, what do you think of the high school trope in general? Like, in terms of it being an extremely commonly used AU. For those of you who don't know, AU is an alternate universe. It's very prominently used in fan fiction.
Which is sort of my area of expertise.
Savannah has great fan fiction. Savannah's her name, by the way. I don't think I ever said that. Savannah, but you can call her Saunter. That's her pony name.
And on the internet, I go by Des a lot because my all my pseudonyms are Desdemona.
Let's just make this as complicated as possible. Yeehaw!
You can pretty much call me anything you want to call me if you want to call me anything at all.
But my name is Veronica.
But my name is Veronica.
Yes. Okay. So high school trope.
High school trope. I actually really like the high school trope, and I'm going to be straight with you. I think it provides a lot of opportunity to take people from, like, an adult setting or a fantastical setting and say, okay, but how do they translate into normal people, and how would they fit into a pre-prescribed social hierarchy that we all understand? It's like a base template. We've all been in high school. Most of us are still in high school. I'm in college, but... You know, I was recently in high school, so I understand how these things work, and so when you take characters from a non-high school setting and put them in a high school setting, it's like I understand how everything corresponds, and I think it's interesting, and I recognize all the little things you do. And, like, you know, making Rainbow Dash the head of the soccer team, and every other team, but especially soccer, you know...
All the teams!
All the teams! I thought that was a really good touch, and I thought that was really cool, and you just sit there waiting to be surprised by the little things they do that play into the character.
I've also always been a fan of alternate universes.
I love alternate universes.
Because you can have so much room to just fit in these tiny little clever things, and those are the things that really make it.
Easter eggs.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of people have actually complained about just the level of fan pandering in the movie, but that's kind of what makes up an alternate universe, is those little moments.
That's the fun of it. I bet you
like the great and powerful Trixie needs cheese crackers.
The people who are complaining about that, I bet, do not read fan fiction.
Not a lot.
Or if they read it, they only read, like, this crappy stuff where that violin player, whatever, dates whoever...
Octavia. Dates Final Scratch.
Yeah.
And that University Days is very well written.
I've never read it.
It's, like, one of the most popular fanfictions of all time. It's very well written.
Okay, you know what's also technically by numbers the most popular fanfiction of all time?
Don't say it!
My Immortal.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Twilight.
Oh! No, actually, it would be 50 Shades of Grey. Twilight is not actually, wow, Twilight and Twilight and Twilight. Okay.
the other Twilight.
The one, we do not speak its name. Okay, but no, the point is that I really liked the high school AU, and if you don't like it, then you don't like it, and that's alright.
I felt like some of the main six were better suited for it than others. Like, Rainbow Dash did very well. And Fluttershy did really well, and Pinkie Pie did amazing. She totally rocked it. And
like, you totally believe that's where she started.
But, you know, my favorite, Rarity, bless her soul, she had moved so far, she was so mature in Ponyland, you know?
She was
Equestria.
Self-starter.
She kind of devolved for Equestria Girls.
I guess I could see it being a little weird to see her in a high school setting where she's not running her own store. You'd think that, but I mean... I liked her still. She was still really cute, and she was still fun, and she still was Rarity. So, even seeing her a little less enfranchised was...
I also thought they made her a little, actually, if we consider it, if, they actually did age regress in terms of being...
mature?
In the movie versus being in the show, like, say they were 20 as ponies in our human version, and, like, 15... this is just an idea that just came to me. What if she hadn't actually moved as far away from her parents as she had within Ponyville?
Oh, that makes sense.
Because she seemed a little more podunk in the movie. Like in some of her movements and some of the things she did.
Mm-hmm.
She had that kind of goofy Midwestern thing going on.
That's interesting.
Just a tiny bit. Like, most of the time she was still the ever-lovable Rarity that I adored.
So probably her still living with her parents makes a difference in a few ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish I could have seen her parents as humans.
Okay. So my thing that I was really interested in was Fluttershy, because the poor darling is crying outside because she's so lonely, and she just, like, takes animals with her everywhere, and I was like...
thinking about it, that was actually really tragic.
You are the most genuine character in this whole movie, and I understand exactly what you're about, and I feel so bad for you, and I just want you to have friends again, and you're just crying outside where everyone can see you. I know what that feels like. Oh, Fluttershy, and she's not even my favorite character. They just made me care about her a lot. The AU was really good to her in that sense.
Okay, moving on to the next thing. What did you think about the human models for the ponies?
Okay, so I've heard that there's a lot of complaints about this because all the girls are wearing skirts and they all have boots on, and you were like, blah blah blah, they're all wearing boots.
We're not talking about fashion right now. We're gonna get into that in a minute. I have a bone to pick with them, but
I'm gonna fight you
later.
Okay.
Later. But for the moment, we're talking about, like, the actual, like, biological forms that they have taken. The same-faced, very skinny, and then also the way the background ponies look.
Okay, so my thing about this is that if you look at actual ponies, there's one fat pony in all of Equestria, and it is, like, Snips, or Snails, I can't remember which
Snails. Snips is the one who talks like this, and, yeah, he's a taller one.
So, when you consider...
Wait, no, it is Snips.
Okay.
It is Snips. God, I hear them together and I hate them so much.
I know.
Big Mac's kind of on the chunkier side, but I think that's just because he's built.
I think that's because he's masculine and he's supposed to be, he's built.
He's
basically.
like a Clydesdale.
Like, if you were to see him in human form, he would have, like, humongous...
He was in human form.
Biceps. Did they show you his humongous biceps?
He was muscular.
Okay, good. Well, okay, so, men look a little different from women, and male ponies look a little different from female ponies, but generally speaking, all the ponies...
Miss Cake was a little pudgy.
I don't know. Maybe.
But I think that's more because she's just supposed to look middle-aged.
Yeah, I think it's the middle-aged thing. So if you are complaining about how all the humans look the same, I mean, they're not really humans, first of all. They aren't. They aren't humans. They're bipedal humanoids with multicolored skin. You gotta face that.
Well, we're bipedal humanoids with multicolored skin.
Are we Technicolor?
Okay. No, we are not Technicolor.
Bicolor humanoids with Technicolor skin. So they're not human, and so it's sort of like complaining that they all look the same is like complaining that all the ponies look the same. I mean, all horses don't look the same, and all ponies don't actually look the same, although they look pretty similar.
I mean, if we stuck a random brony in front of an actual horse and another horse, they couldn't pick apart the differences besides the color.
Right, okay, so...
I could, but, you know.
Go away. So, you'd be like, this is a blah, 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 blah. I don't even know any pony breeds.
Oh, Clydesdales.
No, those aren't ponies.
Oh, ponies. Well, technically, there's only one kind of pony, and that's a pony.
Oh.
A pony's a sub-breed of horses.
I'm gonna kill you. Okay, so if we talk about, like, a Lipizan versus an Arabian, they'd be like, what's the difference? And you'd be like, well, this one has a huge tail that's, like, up, like it's... Okay.
Yeah. Digressing from the current point.
Okay, that has nothing to do with anything. The point is that if you're going to complain about all humans looking the same, first you gotta understand they're not humans, and second of all, you gotta understand this is a stylized animation where
and they're probably
everybody looks the same anyway.
And you gotta consider at the same time that they have to have them look similar, so when they make the body casts for them, for the dolls, they don't have to have, like, a different cast for every single doll.
Right, and then you can exchange clothes on the dolls, too.
Which, you know, I think has actually done a disservice to them, because the ones that are competing mainly against are the
Monster High?
Monster High, and those, each one has a different body mold.
Is that true?
They're all articulated on every one of their joints except their hands, and each one has a different mold because some of them have like stitches for being zombies.
I think those are so cool.
And one of them is gills because she's a fish girl.
Okay, but those are like additions. They like still have the same proportions on each doll.
Mostly.
Okay.
And their eyes also don't look hollow and dead. Which the MLP dolls do.
Yeah, they should. It's ironic considering that MLP started as a marketing thing, and they've come out the other side so that their marketing dolls are, like, not good. What's up with that? Okay, so,
the great irony of the universe.
That covers that. What's our next bullet point?
Okay, well, let's just talk about their fashion since that funnels right into it.
Okay, so the fashion is...
Okay, let me start this one.
Okay.
So I can get me out first before you start rebuttaling what I say.
Okay, don't scream.
First of all, they all wore skirts. I get that, you know? It's a hyper-feminine thing. We're rolling with it. Rainbow Dash at least had a skirt on. It works. I feel it. The part that got me was the fact that every single one of them wore these giant honkin' boots that had no reason to be giant honkin' boots. I mean, even though the dolls had the little peg leg, the pop-off ones, they could still have, like, short shoes. The brats did it just fine. There's no reason for them all... I had brats. I am willing to own up to that. And there's no reason, none, that they should all have those giant boots. Twilight Sparkles does not make sense with those giant boots. Rarity would hate those giant boots if she met herself. Fluttershy, that doesn't make any sense. Fluttershy is a total naturalistic. In all of her special styling, she always has very calm and elegant and, like, naturey accessories and stuff. So the giant honkin' boots do not work for her.
I think you've just made my point for me. And my point is, okay, so you've got, everybody is wearing boots. That kind of indicates to me that you don't have another choice. If you saw somebody else wandering around with sneakers on, you'd be like, oh, well, why isn't Fluttershy wearing sneakers? But you don't actually see that. So I would venture to say that in whatever universe this is, boots are the go-to shoes, and you don't really wear otherwise unless you're mucking out a barn.
Celestia didn't wear boots.
Yeah, but she wears pants. So it's a little different.
Oh god, she does!
She wears pants.
She wears pants. Okay, so did it also freak you out that she had, like, giant honkin' lips?
I didn't notice.
You didn't notice that?
I really didn't notice.
Like, all of the others don't even have lips, but Celestia and Luna both had these, like, giant lips that did not match the rest of their ethnicity on their face.
Okay, so if all the girls in this universe, if the fashion of the time is that girls wear skirts, and girls wear boots, then you don't really have choices, and maybe when you grow up, you move into pants and non-boot shoes, and that's just how it's done. I think the uniformity of everybody doing it seems to indicate something that's just normal for them. It's not like a conscious fashion choice, like they wake up in the morning and they say, I'm going to wear boots. They just say, I'm going to wear shoes, which are boots because of my station in life. That's what I think.
Okay. And, one other thing. In the background, at one point, this made me really excited because she had a different face shape. There's this one girl, and she had kind of a squarish jaw, and she was a little chubby looking, and she was super adorable and didn't look terrifying like the rest of them. And I liked her a lot. I don't even think that she matched up with any of our known background ponies. She was just cute.
I wonder what she would look like as a pony.
I wonder.
Maybe she's also a traveler from an alternate universe.
Aw, snap!
Aw, snap.
Just one little tiny weird thing. Cutie Mark Crusaders having boobs. What?
Well, I don't know. That's a little weird, I guess. But how old are they in this universe? They're in high school, so they've got to be at least 13. And I had breasts when I was in 7th grade.
Which is weird, though, because in the regular continuity, they're in, like...
elementary school?
5th or 4th. Probably 4th.
Well, and of course that means that they should have been pushed back to even smaller. They should be like toddlers if the adults got pushed back too.
Mm-hmm.
But things don't stay all the same.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of weird to me.
It is a little weird, but the boobs aren't that weird if you consider that they are in high school. It's just weird because you used to seeing them as elementary schoolers.
Mm.
Also, how did she get away with riding a scooter in the hallways? I don't think Celestia would stand for that.
We never saw Celestia outside of her fucking room.
Oh, I did sort of have a problem with this because Celestia is like my second favorite character.
Oh my god, bless Celestia. This movie did not do her justice.
I thought it was a little weird how her alternate self
is a hard ass.
No, I actually thought that was appropriate. It is a high school. How she, like, doesn't really get involved and doesn't seem to care that much and sort of...
apathetic.
She's a little apathetic, and she doesn't exactly brush off Twilight. Like, she wants to help, but she wants to help quickly. And so I guess that's just... Maybe they're making a commentary about what working in the public school system does to a person's soul. I'm not sure, but it struck me as a little bit weird, and I kind of felt empty inside, and I was like, Celestia, no, take an interest. Be there for us.
Yeah.
I trusted you, Celestia. Why would you do this to me?
Shh. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, so another thing about Celestia was, how did no one notice that Twilight wasn't enrolled at the school?
I thought about that too, but she didn't actually attend any classes, did she?
I suppose not.
And so no one would have noticed that she wasn't on the roster.
But generally, you kind of have to check that kind of thing when you're running for homecoming queen.
I mean, it was a public school. Sometimes public school is super not good about that sort of thing, and they just sort of take it, because they don't want to do the work. They're like, oh, well, I've got like 14,000 papers to grade. I don't really want to look up this chick in the system. Sure, put your name on the ballot. What do I care? Especially if she's a new transfer, and if they didn't see her in the system, they might think, oh, well, it's just this crummy software hasn't been updated in like 5 years.
I feel you.
So, if we assume it's like the human world in that respect... And I refuse to believe it is the human world, because we already talked about that. If we assume it's like that, then it makes sense. And they don't exactly have the ghettoest public school in history, but it does look like people run a little wild.
A little?
I mean, considering Scootaloo and...
Everything.
And then people turning into monsters. What
if it's High School Universe?
High School Universe, everyone's in high school. Your parents are in high school. Everyone is born fully formed from the dirt out back of the high school, and you grow up and you go to high school and you have little boxy apartments when you're not in high school. And then if you don't do well enough, they kill you when you graduate.
I feel like we just wrote Homestuck.
Did we? What? Okay. I don't understand, but...
Your life only exists until you move past the adolescent age that requires you to be in high school, and then you're in a tiny boxy apartment where all hope is lost.
Oh, like Trolls?
Yes.
Oh! Ooh, now I want to do Homestuck crossovers. Dude, can you imagine a Homestuck crossover with Equestria Girls? Yo.
Dude.
Oh my god.
They would die.
Everyone would die, but that goes without saying. It's just the danger of being in the fandom.
The Condis would get reformed by the elements of harmony.
Holy shit.
Can you imagine that?
Oh my god, I mean, she's already like troll Hitler. Can you imagine her trying to do a transformation? She's like, with the giant flowing hair and the magenta rays shooting off.
Her hair would literally just engulf the entire world.
Yep, you wouldn't even have a chance to straighten her out because her hair would suffocate you. It's a sexy fish lady.
Did you just say that?
You really should have thought that, sexy fish Hitler lady.
Oh my god, Sammy, stop.
Okay.
Stop.
Okay. Luna was kind of cool. I like how her office was like dark.
I felt like they were making some noir detective shout-outs.
I feel like probably Celestia and Luna team up to do good cop, bad cop on students sometimes. What
I don't get is how did they not notice that the two pictures were glued together with the evidence when...
I thought that was a little weird, too, but...
That seemed really hokey to me.
I mean, that was really obvious. I thought it would have been a photoshopping thing, in which case you could have just provided the two original photos and pointed out that,
Well, yeah, but there was the cutout.
I know, but that's why I was surprised when I saw the cutout. I was like, I thought you were literally just going to show us the two original pictures, and I guess they don't think children understand Photoshop.
Okay, and since we're on the topic, let's involve the, contentious point that has haunted the Bronydom.
Okay.
Brad.
Oh, what's the truth is, I like Brad. And I know some people don't like Brad. We talked about this once. some people probably don't like Brad because he gets in the way of their OTPs. And I feel you, man. That's what it's like to be in the world of fandom. I mean, you should have seen the ship wars in Avatar fandom a few years ago. That was insane. If you didn't see it, be glad you didn't.
Many lives were lost that day. Never forget.
That, 3 years. Many lives were lost. But I like Brad, and I thought he was a pretty subtle character. He wasn't overbearing.
They never kissed.
I was really pleased about that. I would have had a problem if they'd kissed. It was like at the end of Pacific Rim when they don't kiss. I was like, praise Jesus!
I actually kind of understood. Personally speaking, I don't know if you guys know this or not yet, but I hate love interests. I hate love interests so much. I hate them so...
Flames on the sides
of my face!
Burning!
I hate them. Oh my god. So, when I found out about Brad, I was like, oh god. This is one of the reasons why I liked MLP. There was no making out or kissing or boys or...
There are literally no boys. There's 2 male characters.
2 males! Except for that one episode where they made Charlie and Big Mac fall in love by force.
But they didn't actually fall in love. I think they're exes. I'm pretty sure that's the impression I got of is that they'd already dated once, and that's why it's funny.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But, Brad and when I was a little tween, I had a very, very, very sad school life. I had, almost no friends, and I was really desperate all the time.
This is how it felt to her. From the outside, it didn't look that bad.
But I connected with her. I got exactly how it felt. So, and people ignored me for the most part, except, in the cases of me not knowing what I'm doing, or someone being mean to me, in which case, they obviously were directing their attention at me. So, when someone extended a kind of olive branch, I'm going to be nice to you, I acknowledge your existence as a person who has feelings, and I think you're kind of cool.
Especially if they do it in public where other people can see.
Exactly. Someone who is nice to you. I developed, every single time, crushes on them, because they were the only person who had been nice to me.
I experienced the same thing. It's not just her.
So, when Twilight was struggling with all this. She had no idea what she was doing. She's trying to make heads or tails of this entire situation. And Brad introduces himself to her and is nice, helps her up, clears her name, all this stuff. That's enough to make someone get a crush. I mean, someone that nice, someone who takes time out specifically to help them.
Especially for someone like Twilight, who has only recently had friends. I mean, even in her own timeline, or
2 years maybe? 2 years of having friends?
Maybe 2 years of having friends. That's not long. And when you compare it to a lifetime of loneliness, and then you have that loneliness brought back, and it's not even just the regular loneliness you're used to, it's like pointed, sharp loneliness, where you're just so empty and you remember that you had things before and you don't know how to get them back, and you're like, holy crap, I never wanted to be here again. And then this guy comes along and he is just nice. He doesn't want anything. He hardly says anything. He's just nice, and he's probably good looking. It's hard to tell when they all have the same face.
I don't know, blue hair is kind of cool.
I mean, he looks like her brother, and
the voice.
I'm just saying, witchcraft.
I always wanted my own brother, and then he showed up at my door.
They really call it, don't they?
I didn't question where he came from.
Woo.
I wasn't lonely anymore.
Well.
Soon we did everything together. Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
So, if you consider all those things, I think it's perfectly acceptable, especially from a psychological realm. And maybe you don't like that, and that's okay, but you gotta admit, that is kind of how people work. And we can attest to that. We both, on separate occasions, experience the same emotions. We went to the same school, so I guess it's that environment.
Yep. And for what appears to be such a large public school, it seemed like a pretty private school.
Did it?
Yeah, like, everyone knew each other and stuff.
Well, it was small. It's a small school with a small population. It's not like Leon size.
Oh.
That's like our high school, and our high school is very large. Didn't have clicks at Leon just because there were so many freaking people.
So many people you couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah, it was like we didn't even have popular people. I don't know if we still have popular people.
Socias.
I think we had socias, but we didn't have popular people. I think that
because no one could know enough people to make them popular.
Right. Our socias were like, you know, people who partied on the weekends but were also in
student
government and who also like got straight A's but weren't actually that smart socias.
And then Brad was also in the pony world.
Oh yeah, because he was introduced in
Flash Century.
In the opening scene. I thought there was something about him. I was like, that guy looks like he might be important to the plot.
Chekhov's gun.
Chekhov's pony.
But
Chekhov's love interest.
Yeah. But the part that bothered me about him, I was okay with Brad the entire time, but one thing pissed me off so much about him. Why wasn't he a crystal fucking pony?
Why wasn't he a crystal pony? Oh,
everyone else was a crystal pony. Why wasn't he?
I assume it's because they brought him in from Canterlot or something.
That feels so weird, though. Like
racism.
Is the Crystal Kingdom like the training ground for the guards of the entire empire?
It might be because they don't look like they have their own guard.
No, they did. There were crystal pony guards there. They were on either side, and they were like doo 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 doo. Even though they had the little tapestry that had Celestia's symbol on it.
Okay, well, I think this is an in-universe racism. That's what I think. Is that she can't fall in love with a crystal pony? That's not.
At least it wasn't a zebra.
What?
Okay, calling you out, Pinkie Pie.
What? Okay, so that's what I think is, sort of the, weird, not meta, but meta version of the... But the real answer is probably just that he came with a contingent, and consider that they have a non-crystal pony as the princess of the crystal ponies, like, what's up with that?
She was instated after she was, I think that partially had to do with Cadence's ability to connect with a smaller version of the Crystal Heart and her backstory.
I'm just saying it's not unusual to bring people in to run this place.
I
maybe
suppose.
He's a contingent that came with her. Maybe he's from her personal guard.
Oh,
I'd like to see that.
Maybe that's why he sounds like her brother.
Because if you know anything about jazzercise, you know that all jazzercise instructors have the same voice. So
it's kind of weird.
It's really frightening, especially when your mother's a jazzercise instructor and she sounds exactly like Judy Shepherd-Missett. And you're like,
Judy Shepherd-Missett is the person who owns the company, has owned it for like 40 years.
She's like 80 years old and she's still jazzercising.
And every single person who teaches jazzercise
sounds exactly
the same. It's kind of weird.
So I mean,
that came out of nowhere.
But I mean, I'm just
lesson for all y'all.
So the thing is that if he works with Shining Armor, I wouldn't be surprised if all the guards in that unit kind of have the same voice.
Oh my god.
I want to know more about Shining Armor and, does he lead things? Is he a follower? Is he like a sergeant?
I feel like they aren't going to bring him back, though. Like, no matter what. They've already said that they're not going to bring him back for Season 4, and the Brony-dom hates him so much. Because heaven forbid there be a guy who has speaking parts who has a wang.
I think that, honestly, bronies are afraid of dicks.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think they are afraid of dicks. They see a dick and they're like, that is not on a female horse. I cannot handle this. I think
it is not my dick, nor is it a female's.
So, I don't know.
Shut down!
Yeah. I think that's weird. And as a woman, I think that it's cool that she has a brother, and I would like to see him introduced into the world more. And I think, especially in a matriarchal system, I want to see how men fit into it. And the only men we have are brothers.
And not to mention in Ponyville, it's very rural, so most of the men pony are going to be earth ponies, and they're going to be out tending the fields.
Right, and that's probably why you never see them.
Thank you, Digibrony, for pointing that out a while ago. That was,
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, he originally pointed that out, why aren't there very many male ponies? Because in Ponyville, it's almost all women, because women do the same activities, and men do the same activities, but since they're working in the fields,
they're not.
We don't really see them.
Time.
Whereas in like Canterlot, there's men ponies much more prominently.
That's so true. Holy cow. Okay. So that's what we think.
Plot twist. Okay, the art style while they were in Ponyville, not in Ponyville, Crystal Kingdom, while they were still ponies. Oh my god,
See, you really like that, and I don't care that much about it.
I just like the shots they had.
I was like, really?
Like the angles that they did were so unusual.
Okay, that's true.
And interesting.
They had really nice,
Everything
aerial
was
views
very
and stuff.
dynamic, and it wasn't the kind of shots as you usually see, you know? Usually they're laid out very straightforward, while in this you could really tell that DHX was trying to make the shots more cinematic.
More dynamic. Yeah,
And I
but
thought
we
that
got
was really
off topic.
Cool. Well, I don't even think we have a topic now.
Well,
we're just talking
we
about
were talking
moving.
about, what was his name, Brett?
Brad.
Brad.
Okay,
I think it's really weird.
Oh, Brad.
It just Oh, Brad! It occurs to me, why does he have a human name in the human universe, but a...
Honestly, I don't even know. I don't know if that's just what... I can't even remember. I don't know if that's what the fandom has just named him, or if that's what his name is within the canon.
I don't think they ever introduce him while he's in the human universe. I think he's just that nameless guy, and then she doesn't...
He does have a name, because at one point it's like, yeah, he dumped, Sunset's Shimmer.
Oh.
Shimmer.
Rosh Hashanah is apparently like tomorrow or something. That has nothing to do with anything. Is Rosh Hashanah and... Never mind. Okay, so... If his name is actually Brad, then I want to know why he has two different names when everybody else is still Fluttershy and
Maybe
Twilight
Flash
Sparkle.
Century is a terrible name.
Flash!
Savior of the universe!
I mean, Flash is... you kind of expect something from a guy named Flash, if you know what I mean.
Did you just, Savannah?
I don't know, did I? You were there.
Was I?
I don't know, were you? But I think he's cool, and I'd like to see more of that, and I was telling Delano about this the other day. I think we have the potential to do something so cool here that nobody else does, which is that we expose that romance is just another kind of friendship. And we have, okay, so Twilight has kind of mastered friendship. She god-tiered friendship, basically. That was how the last season ended.
Alicorn!
If she god-tiered in friendship, okay, so now we gotta start moving up the god tiers. What comes next? What does she not understand that has to do with interpersonal relationships? Romance! And we can talk about how it's a kind of friendship, and how it has different elements, and how we learn all sorts of lessons that little girls and little boys legitimately...
Teach them how to have a healthy relationship.
Because nobody else is doing it. This is really important. Our culture is so focused on romance.
But it's always unhealthy.
It's always unhealthy, and it's always like, you complete me, and,
I can't be on my own.
And I don't know how to be lonely, and come cuddle with me, I'm gonna punch these people in the face. I would just really like to see them take this opportunity to do something cool with it, and make us like him as a person, and help us explore what it really means to love somebody in a romantic sense, and show how it's really the same as loving your friends. It's just got some slightly different elements. Because it's all human love, and pony love, I guess, is the same thing, we are led to assume. Obviously we can't power crowns with human love, but that probably has to do with the mechanics of our universe rather than the lackitude.
Yeah, there's just no magic.
Rather than our love lacking something.
Wait! Something just occurred to me. Do you suppose the reason all the magic went crazy bananas in the human, quotations, world is because it actually just, broke the universe? Since Twilight didn't have any magic, do you suppose introducing magic just, introduced, a glitch into the universe? Broke it?
Yo. That's so interesting. Or what if there was, latent magic, and it was just sort of hanging around, and maybe since there are no horns in this universe, maybe you gotta have a horn to harness magic, and so it's just been floating around unused, like this, maybe they...
Matrix.
Yeah, and it's just sort of, a radioactive particle just floating around in the air, and nobody can use it, and it's not really hurting anything, but then someone comes in who's got, something that effectively works like a horn. If we talk about the crown, in fact, being something that channels magic, then you bring in something that can, take this power that's just free-floating and, straighten it out, then you might have restructured the way that the people of this universe interact with their environment. And so it may be that now people... Because this was a really public incident, maybe people start looking for ways to harness magic, and maybe they start taking, readings of the surrounding atmosphere and going, well, what happened here? And they start doing
Oh, God. They introduced magic to the universe.
They introduced like if you brought electricity using machinery into a universe that doesn't have electricity, and people have decent science of their own, and they start looking and saying, well, how did they do that? And they figure it out, and they invent their own electricity, but it would have its own sort of characteristic based on what the universe is like.
Ooh.
And so suddenly you've created sort of the equivalent of steampunk, but instead of it being steam, it's magic.
Holy shit. Okay, one last thing, and this is to wrap it up. What do you think of the idea of another Twilight Sparkle wandering around?
I was wondering about that the whole time because
Pinkie Pie.
She says, do you have a twin somewhere? What if she's homeschooled? What if this Twilight is homeschooled, and so she's effectively just like the other Twilight who was lonely and had no friends,
but never got to break through with the
suppose she's like the niece of Celestia, the principal, and Celestia is talking to her parents and saying, I really love my niece, and she's so bright, but she has no friends, and I run a school, I can look out for her. Why don't you?
But then wouldn't she recognize Twilight Sparkle?
Maybe. Maybe she knows something, and that's why she didn't get involved.
Oh.
I mean, that's a possibility. Okay, so, or there's just a Twilight wandering around, and she probably transfers in. What year of high school are they in Equestria Girls?
Okay, well, they had the freshman thing. I think they're sophomores.
Probably sophomores.
Because they talk about how they had the big falling out after the freshman.
And it kind of sounded like it was a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they're sophomores, maybe Twilight transfers in the next year, and we go through the events. But this time, all the girls know to be looking for someone who looks like Twilight, and they kind of figure it out.
They recognize her, but they know that it's not actually her.
And they, reach out to her in the hopes that she'll... And they miss, of course, because it seemed like they really bonded, they miss Twilight from the Pony universe, and so this is sort of their way of getting her back again. Because this person is like her, at the core of her. She just hasn't had the same experiences yet. So it's like them reaching out to her and teaching her how to be a friend. And instead of, them all learning together, it's like them teaching her. And I just think that would be so beautiful and cute. And there probably is a Twilight somewhere in this universe.
Not to mention she'd just be, instantly popular.
Yeah, and she'd be like, I don't what? Of course, that would raise some questions. That also raised some questions because the publicity of the demon changing incident means that a lot of people are going to be aware of weird things going on, and when they notice that someone in town looks like Twilight Sparkle, suddenly they're not going to say, oh, well, that's just a person walking down the street. They're going to say, isn't that Twilight? And they're going to be like,
oh god! She's going to get harassed!
I think that would make a really cute anime or something, just like this case of mistaken identity at comical proportions.
That would be so hilarious. I would love that.
There's a lot of potential here, and I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it use some spin-offs. If anybody wants to recommend some fan fiction in the comments, I will totally take you up on that. Lesbians are good. Everybody likes lesbians.
Can you not?
Also, non-lesbians are good. Everybody likes straight people. So anyway, that's world-building stuff that would be super interesting.
Well, so that basically sums up our feelings about everything. We've rambled to the point of breaking. So, if you stuck around to this point...
Good on you.
Wow, I'm kind of impressed.
And we're totally happy to open a dialogue with anybody who wants to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, son.
You can comment, or you can suggest another video, and we'll sort of take off from whatever your prompt is. I know I'm not a regular on this channel, but I'm happy to do it again if anybody cares.
Yep, so, that was my sister. If any of you guys want to visit her DeviantArt, read her fan fiction, any of that, just
this is embarrassing.
Look in the description, and there will be links to some of her stuff. Thank you again for bothering to stay until this point. That's kind of impressive. So, yeah.
See you next video.
See you next video, guys.